What's good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in the building with another banger, man. So as you can see, first things first, by the looks of the title and the screen, I am bringing y'all the top 5 most rare, broken, overpowered, two-way lockdown defender builds on NBA 2K22 Next Gen. But with that being said, man, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Go ahead and turn on post notifications, hit that like button, and be sure to go ahead and drop a comment down below when done. So the first build that I got lined up for y'all today is going to be called the two-way post-scoring playmaker, y'all. And I'm telling you, with this top 5 lockdown defender builds, these are all going to be able to get over 100 badges, be an extremely rare build as well, and on top of all that, you're going to be able to find success with any of these builds in any game mode of your choosing. Now, let's go ahead and get into the breakdown. Y'all can see that I went with 6'9". That is actually a very balanced height. Then for the weight, I went with 217, 6'11 wingspan, and I'm telling you, this is easily the most and perfect way to go ahead about making this build. Now, we're going to be able to get 22 finishing badges, 27 shooting, and honestly, so far, this setup is looking really good. Now, you can always go ahead and make your own adjustments to make the build exactly how you want it, but I'm telling you, when it comes down to this breakdown, you're going to be able to finish at ease, shoot, dribble, and this is a two-way build, so y'all most definitely know that when it comes down to the defensive end, I'm not going to be leaving y'all hanging when it comes down to this, so y'all most definitely know these are easily the top 5 unique, rare, usable lockdown builds in any game mode. Now, when it comes down to the defensive end, this is the most crucial part about this build to get that two-way name. So what you want to go ahead and do is follow along and make it to where you get 28 badges. As you can see here, we actually get some really good badges that we're going to be able to put on as well, and many different tiers go along with that. So for the physicals, we're going to go ahead and max out that speed, go with the 70 acceleration. As for the strength, this completely comes down to what you want to do. I'm going to go ahead and put this to where I leave it at 58 with a 75 vertical and then a 91 stamina. It's pretty much my liking when it comes down to this. Again, if you feel like going about this a different way, you most definitely can. It all just comes down to your personal playstyle as well as how you see yourself using this build. Now, the takeovers, we do get the post scoring, playmaking, sharpshooting with a shot creating takeover. For me on this build, I would go with the shot creating just to break ankles. The second one, I would pick a post scoring, and as y'all can see, we have made number 1 on the list, the two-way post scoring playmaker build with an Anthony Davis comparison, Jokic with a Bam Adebayo as well. Now, I'm telling you, the builds are only going to continue to get even more rare as well as even better. And the second lockdown build that I got lined up for y'all, yes, a lockdown build, because we're going to be able to get that rim protecting takeover, a defensive takeover on this jack of all trades build. So if you are still watching, go ahead and let me know in the comment section, what did y'all think about that first lockdown two-way build that I brought to y'all? Very unique, especially with the name, but with this jack of all trades coming at number 2, I'm telling you, this is a very unique and special build. Because we're making it out of 6'9", it's not going to be shorter like most of the jack of all trades builds that we are normally seeing when it comes down to what people put out. So as you can see with the breakdown of this build on the height, I'm going to be going with 6'9". Now for the weight, I'm going to put this to 215 with a 7'3 wingspan, and this is pretty much the way that I would go about it when it comes down to doing this setup. Now let's go ahead and take it a step further. Once we go ahead and get into the breakdown, as you can see, just be sure to follow along, and I promise you everything is going to work out. Now with that driving dunk, all you got to go ahead and do is adjust your vertical, so that way you're going to be able to unlock the pro contact dunks on this jack of all trades build. And again, remember, we're also going to be able to unlock a defensive takeover. So 27 badges when it comes down to the finishing end, and then as for the shooting, we get 25, but we're also able to get a good amount of Hall of Fame badges here as well. Now let's go ahead and move on to the playmaking. As you can see, 19 badges is honestly going to be perfect, and remember, you're also getting a +8 badges to each and every one of these builds. One if you completed each season going all the way to season 4, Then, when it comes down to the rebirth, the +4 badges is going to be coming from completing each season, y'all. We're technically about to be finishing season 4 very soon. So once we get into season 5, things are only going to continue to get even crazier, y'all. So when it comes down to the defensive end, I feel like 27 badges is going to be the perfect amount that you will need when it comes down to this jack of all trades build, especially to get that rim protecting takeover. You actually have the potential to get a 99 block on this build with boost. Now, when it comes down to the physicals on this build, I'm maxing out that speed, acceleration, go with the 70 vertical, and then when it comes down to the stamina, I would go with at least somewhere between an 80, 90, and up. Now, I'm gonna go with the shot creating takeover, the ankle breaking shots just to take them ankles, then pair it up with paint intimidation takeover, and as y'all can see, with number 2 on the list, we have made the jack of all trades build and another comparison of Karl Anthony Towns with Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo again. Now, let's go ahead and get into the third out of the 5 builds, the two-way facilitator. This one is going to be a straight big man build coming in at 7'3", out of the center position with a sharpshooting takeover. That means this build is going to be very lethal when it comes down to taking it into any game mode, because we're going to be able to have the max sight on a build but also shoot lights out if you know what you are doing when it comes down to using this specific build. So if you are still here watching, I just want y'all to know that I appreciate y'all, I love y'all, and I thank y'all, and you might as well as hit that like button, y'all. Again, I just got to go ahead and say thank you, God, for giving me this opportunity. And again, before we get any further, I just got to go ahead and say thank you to the Rich Gang family for your support. If you have any goal in mind, I just want y'all to know that all you got to go ahead and do is give that to God, and I promise you, He's going to line you up with what you need to do in order to achieve the success that you're aiming at. Now, that's just my faith, my motivation to y'all today. Let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of this build now. So as you can see, when it comes down to it, we're going to go ahead and start with the finishing end on this build. And honestly, that is a main key factor in a lot of these builds. I'm trying to make them more well-rounded rather than not focusing on a certain aspect when it comes down to the 4 things that we're able to focus on through the finishing, shooting, playmaking, and defensive end. So right here, I like how the build is looking with 22 badges. If you want to change it to get more, you definitely can do that. But again, it's all based on your personal preference. As for the shooting, we're going to be able to get 23 badges. But right here, I'm telling you, you're going to be able to shoot just as good, if not even better, than any other build in the game. And I'm not just saying that because we do have the badges to help and prove that for us as well. Now, for the playmaking end, 18 badges is really solid, especially with the fact that we're going to be able to get bullet passer. That is a huge W in my opinion, especially because this build is going to be 7'3". Now, let's go ahead and take it a step further into the defensive end. Right here, 34 defensive badges, and I'm telling you, you're going to be able to get all of the Hall of Fame badges that you need. Rim protector, then you get pogo stick, intimidator. A lot of good wealth is coming out of this build for being 7'3". Now, when it comes down to the physicals, I'm going to max out that speed, acceleration, strength, 61 vertical with a 90 stamina. And this is pretty much how everything is going to be looking like once you max it out. I'm telling you, the takeovers are only going to make this build even better. We do get the glass cleaning, rim protecting, paired up with the sharp shooting, y'all. Now, if you feel like going with any takeovers that are going to be different from what I'm showing y'all, base it off of your playstyle. Again, this is going to be the build that we're making together, but ultimately, you will be using. And as y'all can see, we have made the two-way facilitator, and I love the comparisons. Rudy Gobert, then we get Dikembe Mutombo with Joel Embiid. Some really crazy names, I'm not gonna lie. Out of these 3 players, all of them are really goated comparisons. Now, if you like that build, we're gonna go ahead and get into the next one now. And as you can see, we ended up going with a little bit smaller on this build, 6'7" out of the small forward position. We are making the two-way mid-range facilitator build, but with this one, you're going to be able to get glass cleaning takeover, which honestly, in my opinion, I have to be real with y'all, is only going to make this build that much more better and rare with how I'm bringing it to y'all. So if you watch the first 3 bangers of the builds, go ahead and let me know Out of all the builds, which one are you most excited to make? Comment down below and let me know. And y'all most definitely know I'm going to have to approve of y'all which one you are making. And I got y'all with a response as well. So let's go ahead and get into the breakdown. As you can see, we're going to be making this build out of the small forward position. If you were paying attention, then we're going to go with the height of 6'7" on this build. When it comes down to the weight, I like 181 with a 7'1" wingspan. Now, when it comes down to the stats, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to follow along, and I promise you, everything is going to work out. So as you can see, when it comes down to the finishing, we're going to go ahead and make sure we're going to be able to maintain pro contact dunks on this build. 22 finishing badges. Now, when it comes down to the shooting, we do get 27. Then, moving on to the playmaking, we're going to be able to get a good amount of badges in this area as well. So right here, you can go with 25 or 26. It really all comes down on your personal preference, how you see which way you're going to be going about making this build, and also which you are more satisfied with, getting more playmaking badges or taking a risk and being able to spread the wealth a little bit more to get more badges in other areas. Now, 24 for the shooting, but as you can see, if we upgrade the defensive rebound more, you're going to be able to get 28. I like this setup. Then for the physicals, max out that speed and acceleration. Go with the 70 vertical and an 80 stamina. If you feel like changing it, you definitely can do so, but I'm telling you, this is how the build is going to be made. This is actually the best way to go about it as well. I went back and forth with the stats, making sure that I made it perfect, got the animations that I wanted as well as the takeovers, and this is pretty much what I came out with. Let me know what y'all think about this build. This was actually the very first build that we did see when it came down to 2K22. They did tweet it out, and this honestly has to be even better than what they showed us before the game even dropped. Now, we get double lockdown takeovers if you consider the defensive takeovers being paired up with the glass cleaning. That is how I go about it. Now, if you want to, I would definitely go ahead and consider lockdown with a glass cleaning takeover. That's pretty much 2 defensive takeovers in one. But if you want to break ankles, go with ankle breaking shots and see the future takeover. And as y'all can see, we have made the 2-way mid-range facilitator build, and all these builds are getting over 100 badges as well. And look at that comparison of Jaylen Brown. But we got one final build lined up for y'all today, the ultimate 3-and-D wing build, the straight defensive anchor, y'all. I'm telling you, and that's actually a real build name too as well. I will most definitely bring that to y'all in another top 5 lockdown builds. But right here, the 3-and-D wing definitely has to be one of my favorites, a mix of the 2-way pass for swing as well as a rebounding wing. Small forwards definitely have to probably be the best position to make any build out of in this game, and I'm not just saying that. There have been so many rare and unique build names that we have been able to find out of this position specifically. So now, if you are still watching, y'all might as well as hit that like button to finish off these top 5 builds. Let's go ahead and get started. Put it under the small forward position, but then when it comes down to the height, weight, and wingspan, here is where things are going to play a crucial factor. So go with 6'8" for this build. When it comes down to the weight, I'm gonna go with 185 to be the fastest. 7'1" wingspan with a built body shape. Now, let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of these stats. Y'all already know what y'all need to do. Just be sure to follow along as I show y'all. Now, when it comes down to this, I'm telling you, the 3-and-D wing out of all these builds is my favorite build name because the build name fits itself perfectly. You're going to be able to finish at the rim and get those pro contact dunks. But now when it comes down to the shooting, y'all most definitely know this is not a 3-and-D wing for no reason. So we're going to be going with an 82 mid-range shot and an 83 three-pointer. 26 badges right there. But then when it comes down to the shooting, right here, you're still going to be able to dribble just as good as any other build in the game. And on top of all that, you are a lockdown build. I love the 81 ball handle with a 73 speed with ball. 23 badges in total. Now let's go ahead and move on to the defensive end. As you can see here, we're actually able to spread the wealth pretty good to where we're still able to look like a lockdown defender build, but also part guard with the playmaking paired up with the finishing. Then to pair that up with the shooting really just makes this build that much more game breaking, overpowered, toxic. I'm telling you, I'm only bringing y'all these fire builds just because I know y'all have been appreciating me since day one, showing support, and just know that I most definitely appreciate y'all, the Rich Gang family. I love y'all and I thank y'all. But as you can see, make sure you go with the 70 vertical on the physicals. You can max out the stamina the rest of the way if you want to, then max out that speed and acceleration, and this is what the build is going to be looking like. You got a good amount of wealth in each of these areas when it comes down to this build, especially when it comes down to the playmaking. That's what's going to surprise people a lot. But then on top of all that, you have to consider, look at how strong this defensive side of the ball is, especially once you add boost and run with teammates that do have floor general as well as defensive leader on Hall of Fame. Really going to take this build over the top. Now, if you feel like making any changes, go ahead and do it after you get the build name. But with this build, I'm telling you, you have so much potential to do anything that you want and take this build into any game mode of your choice, y'all. Now, while you are still here, man, if you are still watching, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Go ahead and turn on post notifications, hit that like button, and be sure to drop a comment down below when done. I'm going to go with the shot creating and lockdown defender takeover, and as y'all can see, we're able to break ankles, play elite defense, and we get the 3-and-D wing Jason Tatum comparison build. I thank y'all, I love y'all, and I appreciate y'all. Man, with all that being said, I got one last thing to say. Thank God and Rich out.